Hey, I have a business associations corporations essay to issue check through today. No issue spotting. We're gonna check through the issues. We don't say the word spot around here, and this is by request. So let me go through this essay from 2009 February. It's a California essay. Sort of a beefy question here, but I think the MEE might have similar issues. So we can go through this and see how it goes. We can either look at the facts first, or maybe take a look at the questions. We can take a quick look at the questions to call the questions first. So looks like SI as a company wants to avoid some obligation to another company, GP. Violated any duties. Charlie is a director, so there might be some juicy discussions there. And it looks like Alan and Betty want to try to kick Charlie off from the board of directors. So let's go through the facts. So Stage Inc. Is a properly formed corporation. SI has some articles in incorporation, including a provision saying that it is formed for the sole purpose of operating comedy clubs. Okay, so there is an article of incorporation. That's probably an important one here. Three directors, A, B, and C. Let's see, so C wants to persuade A and B that their corporation should expand into a new venture here, real estate development, which is, seems quite different from operating comedy clubs. So they have some heated discussions. They entered into a contract with GP, and they want to use SI's capital to help with constructing a new shopping mall, which seems in line with the real estate development. So C, Charlie, is the one who's sort of the only one who's excited about it. A and B kind of changed their minds, and they're not too hot about it. And it looks like they want to just keep at their original purpose of running comedy clubs. The company was struggling financially to even keep its own comedy clubs open. And so Al and Betty want to avoid the contract with GP so that the company's capital can go to operating as comedy clubs. But then GP approached Charlie about another real estate project. GP is trying to build a smaller mall. So maybe not this new mall, but maybe a smaller mall. So a little bit better in terms of using capital. And they're seeking investors. So Charlie knows that the other directors are probably not going to be happy about it. So he's kind of doing this on the side here. He's not telling anyone here. He's not telling the board. He's not going to ask them for permission. He's going to go off on his own, invest his own money without mentioning the project to anyone at the company. But Al and Betty are suspecting that Charlie has been skimming corporate funds for his personal activities. It doesn't seem like it's really about investing his own money into the other real estate project. So it's not the company's money, it's his own money. But Al and Betty want to kick him out because they think Charlie is trying to use the corporate money for his own personal activities, which is a no-no. And they don't have much proof, but they still want to kick him out. I mean, it seems like Charlie has been a pain in the neck the whole time here. So let's see if Al and Betty can make that come to fruition. And the overall goal of issue checking is to be able to do it in a few minutes. You don't want to read the facts and go through like a mind map or something, like try to pull issues out of thin air, trying to identify, trying to organize an outline without having sort of like a systematic approach to it. So that's where Approsheets come into play. Well, first of all, let's set up the big cause of the question. So I just like to just set this up for organization purposes. Obligations to GP, violations of Charlie's duties. As to the smaller mall. And then these are the questions that we do want to hit. And setting this up front allows us to be sure that we don't miss anything here. So let's go through the checklist. All right, so it's about a corporation. So any agreement about before the incorporation? No, we can skip that. Was it properly formed? Yes, this is a properly formed closed corporation. But maybe we can just note that as like a quick slam dunk issue. And I'll put this issue in brackets just to say that this is an optional, like a no-brainer, just like quick, just throw it in there type of thing. I don't think this applies. Is there a purpose? Yes. Is there a purpose stated in the Articles of Incorporation? Yes. SI was formed for the sole purpose of operating comedy clubs. So ultra vires acts is going to be the main issue here, I think. So, we can get into, for ultra vires acts, I'm going to pull up the magic sheets here. So there's actually two different theories that we can go after in terms of ultra vires acts. So under common law, activities beyond the scope of the purpose, you can't really do that. That'll be void and unenforceable. On the other hand, this act, I don't know what it stands for, UVAs are generally enforceable. Maybe there may be other consequences for that, but there's two competing theories about it. So if you're going for the points, maybe you can talk about common law and then RMBCA. This should get you like bonus points, but this is probably the main one you want to talk about. If you want some extra brownie points, go ahead and talk about the competing theories. And speaking of competing like counter arguments, you don't want to make a facts and be like, oh, A is going to argue this, B is going to argue this, and then C is going to argue this, and then A is going to come back and argue something else, and therefore he's going to win. Those are like all hypothetical. The better way to present counter arguments is to present competing legal theories rather than hypothetical straw man arguments. So I think that's it for question one, actually. Let's go back to the question. How can SI attempt to avoid? Okay, so yeah, if these extra activities with the real estate development is indeed an ultra vires act, then under the common law, yes, we can make that void and unenforceable. Is that here somewhere? Yes, here we go. I'm right now, I'm kind of going beyond the scope of identifying issues, but I'm just letting you know like what we can talk about in the essay. But we're just trying to be quick here. So question 2, has Charlie violated any duties? Yeah, he's been doing some shady stuff. So let's go through this. Liability against shareholders? No, no one is a shareholder here, so we can skip that. And we do have a board of directors, A, B, and C. Is there going to be a quorum issue? I'm not sure, but we do have 3 people, which means there's a possibility that A and B could be a majority quorum for something. But we can just kind of keep that in the back of our head. We do want to see if we can kick Charlie off the board. So let's see, bad faith, negligence in decision. There's a bit of a bad faith here. So let's note down duty of care. And then the business judgment rule is sort of the main test under duty of care. So we're definitely going to want to talk about that. If indeed duty of care is an issue. But for now, we're going to jot it down. Conflict of interest, definitely for sure. We're going to talk about duty of loyalty. And then the sub-issues underneath, which is self-dealing and then the usurpation of corporate opportunity. And actually, I think the duty of loyalty is the bigger issue here because we're talking about there's another opportunity that Charlie wants to kind of work on by himself without telling Alan Betty here. So I'm going to move this up ahead of duty of care because I feel like it's going to be more important. So I'm just going to underline them like you would on an actual essay, underline the issues, punch the graders in the eyes. And let's see. Actually, for corporate opportunity, if you wanted to be more organized, we could actually break this down into there is a test for a corporate opportunity. So let's see. Yes, what counts as usurpation? There's a three-part test here. So um, opportunity. Uh, Number one, element number one, corporation has interest. Expectancy. Thank goodness for autocorrect here. Spell check. Corporation. These are the three elements, and we don't have to do this right now, but just for while we're here, we're gonna go through. I feel like these could be like checked out pretty easily. For example, a corporation is not financially able to take the opportunity, or at least it's unlikely. We saw that somewhere here there was something I was struggling. Yeah, SI was struggling financially to keep his comedy clubs open. So this is, unlikely. We can note that, and as we answer the essay, we already know where we're going, so we can kind of formulate our arguments or our application of the rule in that direction. Was there an interest or expectancy in the opportunity? Not really from SI's point of view. They were sort of in heated discussions, and only Charlie was interested. So I would say that no, SI is not really interested or is not expecting to get opportunities like the one with the smaller mall. So I'm gonna write down no. Um, it is not within the line of business. We have a specific provision in the Article of Corporations. So this is a pretty clear cut conclusion that even though Charlie was trying to take another opportunity, it's not really an usurpation. You know, speaking like legally speaking under bar law, and also he was using his own money, so like it's not really he's not really using the corporation's money, so it's not a big deal, honestly. But that's a separate matter from trying to kick him out for other reasons. So conclusion, not. So that's just for our own purposes, our own note taking. Self dealing. I mean, Charlie is really just using his own money for this. So self dealing. What is the test for that? There's a conflict if director gets an unfair benefit from the transaction with the own corporation. He's not really transacting with his own corporation with SI. Um, it's just independent of SI. Charlie heard about it through GP, and he didn't want to bother Alan Betty, so he's going to invest his own money without mentioning the project. So, I mean, is there really a conflict of interest? That could be, discussed. Consider whether there's a conflict of interest. And for now, we are trying to identify the issues, so we don't really have to discuss it right now. But I'm just trying to take quick notes here. Um, this should all be kind of going through your head, rather than I'm just like speaking out loud for your self edification. But let's go on to duty of care. Would someone in a like position, having care as an ordinarily prudent person, uh, have done this if he was trying to do it in the best interest of the corporation? I mean, he's not doing anything that funny. He heard about this project from GP. He doesn't want to bother Alan Betty, so he's actually being considerate, arguably, and he's using his own money. He's not using the corporation's money. So there isn't really a transaction with the corporation. So I think this is sort of a quicker issue here. So I'm just gonna leave this here and just consider whether what is actually the standard here. Uh, okay. So that could be our note. An ouster. So the call has already sort of identified the issue for us. I don't think there really is anything to really dig deeper into. I'm just going to type in removal of director. That's the issue. And then we sort of touched upon quorum earlier. I don't think this is really a big thing, but we can mention that if Alan Betty wanted to make a decision together as the majority, they could be there to transact some type of business for SI. There's a majority to perform an act by the board. But again, this is not a big issue. I think the removal of director, that's already been identified, so we can just put that there. And might as well just figure out what could happen here. So removal, the shareholder can elect, remove director with or without cause. So even if there was no really a legal wrongdoing by Charlie, Alan Betty could hold a shareholder meeting and then try to convince them that Charlie is not really trying to be involved in something with the purpose of SI. He's not really on board with that, and Alan Betty might try to talk about how Charlie invests his own money for real estate development. Maybe he should go to another company, stuff like that. So the decision is on the shareholders, not really by Alan Betty. So to directly answer this question, under what theories can Alan Betty attempt to oust Charlie? There isn't really much anything that they can do. Maybe there's some quorum type thing. I'm just kind of going off the rails here. They might try to make business decisions that are more in line with comedy clubs, and then Charlie might not be on board with it, and then that could be maybe evidence for the shareholders to consider that Charlie is not really fit or not a good fit with the company. So there's a lot you could kind of talk about, discuss, and kind of bring up in the essay. But for now, we do have an outline of the major issues, the sub issues, elements of issues. So you've already done half the work here. You know what to talk about. All you have to do is plug in the rules and talk about some of the facts, and then you're done. So just having this on your essay answer, your draft, your outline, that is going to be very valuable because a grader is going to much more prefer a completely solved essay over a masterpiece that is incomplete. Let's say you get through only maybe up to here, or even up to here. So you answer question 1, question 2, and then you don't even hit question 3. But then you think, oh, I wrote 2,000 words on this. I wrote this beautiful treatise. I'm gonna get a good, that's gotta be worth something, and it is worth something, but it's not worth that much. So it's better to have brief discussions of everything rather than this huge, beautiful, speech. And a lot of people make mistakes in that manner. A lot of smart people do things that the graders are not looking for, answer questions that the graders are not asking. So, and just get in, get the points, and get out. Answer the question like a bar taker, not like a lawyer, not like someone who has a bunch of wisdom. No, just identify the issues. That's half the battle. Plug in the rules, plug in the application, conclude, get out, move on to the next question. So that's why I keep saying that issues are the most important part of IRAC. It's sort of an inverted pyramid of what you're taught in law school, where you're trying to apply, analyze, and show the professor what you can analyze both sides and stuff like that. The bar exam is a little bit different, or kind of a lot different actually. So I think it's kind of upside down. It's not the issue, or it is the issue that's most important. It's inverted. So hopefully this will kind of enlighten you on how to approach an essay. This took about, I don't know how long it took, 12 minutes, but this should probably get done in 5 minutes max. And if you're considering conclusions, maybe you're writing down rules, then maybe longer, 10-15 minutes. But let's say 15 minutes max. You have already completed pretty much the whole essay. You just have to plug in facts. Here here facts, and then thus conclusion, and then yeah, that is it, and then it's that is it. I got this notification at the very last minute, but that is how to approach corporations essay. Hopefully that was quick and easy. Again, since we were doing this for kind of explanation purposes, it took a little bit longer than it would have otherwise. But that just going through the checklist kind of keeps you on track without having to just think about it all the time. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if you need one that's maybe in an MBE category, because I've been working on issue analyzing that area. So, all right, hope that helped.